So I consulted, we discussed with the management team of community-based community interactive discussion Hub Kenya, and we agreed that CBC is a very important topic, and we scheduled for today. So we have today two guests. One is a senior lecturer in Moi University, teaching in Department of Education, Dr. Mary Kerich. She's here to join us, and she will be taking us through. Oh, yeah, she is already joined. Daktari, karibu sana, karibu sana, karibu sana. So Dr. Kerich is a senior lecturer in the Department of Education. I will give her an opportunity later to introduce herself before we start with the discussion. So as I've said, this conference is to enlighten us, to tell us or to make us understand what is all about, what is this CBC. The issue about the career pathways after grade 9, how will the students proceed to the high school? How are they going to choose the high school or the learning institutions? We are all aware we are all aware normally we have the prestigious national schools like Alliance, like Starehe Boys, and all those other national schools. So we are yet to understand how will the student use these schools. So we have an expert here who will tell us how the students will choose those schools. So the criteria of choosing the schools, we learn that one. Then we have here an expert who is going to tell us or explain to us how will the student now pursue different careers. We have careers normally called STEM, that is science, technology, and mathematics. That is one of the careers. Normally, we also have another career in arts. So how will those who are going to pursue arts subjects choose the schools? Are all schools going to offer all these careers? So we know little about these career pathways, and somewhere before we started this conference, we were discussing with one of the participants, who is my host, and she was telling me that we have got 3 pathways. That is arts, sports and science, social sciences, science, tech, engineering, and mathematics. But we don't know much about it. So because already we have the coach who is going to take us through that, we learn more about that. Because of time, I'm not going to talk much about today's conference. Let me just try to mute for because I'm hearing some egos around. I want to request the members to mute so that when I give one person to talk, at least all of us we are able to follow the presentations. Because normally, if we don't mute, background disturbances will not allow the presenter to present in a clear manner, and we may miss what they are going to present. We have engineer Ngeno is also an expert in engineering. He's a participant today. At some point, he was our guest. So today he's also here to learn. Karibu engineer. Karibu sana.
Thank you. I was raising the hand to say maybe we mute, which you have said, but I'm happy to join you.
Yeah, karibu sana, karibu sana. Are you back from the US or you are still in the US?
I'm back. I'm now in Nairobi.
Ah, good. Karibu.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, because we have 2 guests, I would like to give the first guest, that is Dr. Mary Kerich. She will introduce herself and continue. maybe because it's already 8:14, she encountered Syria's internet itch before she was able to join. So, Madam Kerich, this is your opportunity to do a presentation on the pathways. So you can use the 15 minutes, 8 to 8:30.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Yes, thank you, Chair. As you've heard, my name is Mary Kerich from Moore University, from the Department of Curriculum, Instruction and Educational Media, School of Education. As you've heard, I'm a teacher by profession, that is an educator, and I'm now a teacher educator. I'm very sorry for delaying because of issues of the internet. I think I'll go straight to the paths. Children or these young people have been taking subjects without choosing, right from grade 7 up to grade 9. But now, as they move to grade 10, they'll have to choose subjects to prepare them for their careers. And that is why there are 3 paths that they are supposed to choose from. So I'll start by asking, why choose pathways in senior school? First is to tailor their learning to their interests, talents, and career goals. Another reason why they have to choose pathways is to enhance career relevance. For example, I think in the past, 844, students used to take a lot of subjects. At the end of Form 4, those subjects really will have wasted their time, and therefore they were carrying a burden. But with this CBE, they are given the opportunity to start choosing their subjects early enough. And those they feel is not relevant to them, they leave out. And this helps the learners to have in-depth knowledge on the subjects that they choose. Another reason is to improve readiness for higher education. Yes, as I have said, if a student knows that he wants to be, say, an engineer, I think it would be of no use to do those subjects that are not related to engineering. So it means this choosing of pathways enable these learners to make their decisions slightly early as compared to the 844 system. Therefore, as they enter grade 10 next year, they will choose 4 core subjects irrespective of the paths they choose. So there are 4 core subjects which they have to do, whether they are going to choose arts, STEM, or sports. Those core subjects will be English, Kiswahili, stroke sign language, that is if they have hearing impairment. They will also do community service learning and physical education. Community service learning actually is to help them understand how to relate what they are learning to the community. So as they volunteer, they also learn aspects in the community that will be related to their learning. Now, there are 3 pathways, as you've heard. The first pathway is arts and sports science. And this pathway has 2 tracks. The first track is arts. And under arts, you have fine arts, music and dance, then theater and film. You can see theater and film that used to be in the university or colleges is coming down because of the shorter time that they'll have in the university. So they'll have basics of theater and film. This is a subject that is new in secondary. The other track under arts and sports is sports itself, sports science. And under that track, we have physical education, then we have sports and recreation. But remember, I've said physical education is compulsory. So for that student who will have chosen sports, he will take sports and recreation and maybe another subject at the arts that I've just mentioned. So which careers, which career can students who have chosen arts and sport go to? There's creative arts, that is maybe art and design, yes, art and design. Then they can also choose performing arts, that is music, drama, and dance as a career. They can also choose sports and coach management. Remember, in our country, we've not been having a course on coaching and management. Yet we know that our country is known for sports and athletics. So those who want to venture into management of sports will have an opportunity. And we know sometimes how much these people are required, not only in Kenya, but outside the country. Before, we had never taken it as a career, but it is a very important career. The other path is social science. And social science has also two tracks. We have humanities and business studies. And which subjects are under this? We have history and citizenship, business studies itself, geography, Christian religious education, Islamic religious education, Hindu religious education, and community service learning, which again I've said is compulsory. Whether you choose to be in STEM or other parts, community service learning will be compulsory. So I've said under social science, we have humanities and business studies track. Then we have track 2 under social science. We have languages and literature. Which subjects will be under that? We have English language, literature in English, fasihi ya Kiswahili, lugha ya Kiswahili, indigenous languages, sign language, Arabic, French, German, Mandarins, Chinese. What is of noting here is in grade 10, English language will stand on its own. Unlike before, where English was combined with literature. Here, they'll be separate. Same to Kiswahili. It used to be Kiswahili alone, but now there will be lugha ya Kiswahili and fasihi ya Kiswahili. For those of us who are in the older system, fasihi and lugha, English literature and English language were also standing on their own. But with 844, they are combined. So I can see a bit of what used to be there coming back. So that one, everybody should be aware, parents should know that those two are separate, the languages. Now, which are the likely careers that students can go and train in when they choose social science? Of course, we have careers like law, economics, business studies, politics, that is political science, social work, education, arts, diplomacy, public administration, just to name a few. Then the other one is STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This one is normally very popular, though sometimes we don't get enough STEM students. So under this, again, we have two tracks. We have pure science, pure sciences under this STEM. Then we have mathematics, and under pure science, we have mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, and general science. General science is whereby all the three sciences are put together. They are not separated. So you'll find biology, chemistry, and physics. It touches a bit of that. So biology, chemistry, and physics stand on its own, and then general science. General science are likely to be done by schools that do not have enough equipped laboratories. And when it comes to mathematics, yes, advanced mathematics, this is mathematics that will be done by those students who have chosen STEM. For the others, they'll do mathematics, which is general, to help them handle issues later in life that require mathematics. So there'll be mathematics that is for the science students and mathematics for the art students, which of course I think will vary in terms of content. The careers under no, sorry, and that, I'll come to that later. Track 2 is applied science. Applied science. We have agriculture, computer science, and home science. That is applied science. Then track 3, we have technical studies. This is where we have aviation, power mechanics, media technology, marine and fisheries, building and construction. Again, we can see some new subjects around technical studies. Subject like media technology, marine and fisheries. These are new subjects, which again I have said have actually been in college level, but they have been brought down so that the learners can start having foundation courses of these careers. So what are the careers that learners can likely involve themselves in after pursuing STEM? Of course, all of us know some of the careers are like engineering, medicine, information technology, architecture, aviation, and the sciences like general BSc courses specifying maybe in zoology, botany, and so forth. Life skills, which has been a subject in school, will not be a standalone subject. Specific issues in life skills will be incorporated in each learning area. For example, if the learners are learning history, life skills that are related to history will be incorporated or integrated. And also in science, life skills will be incorporated depending on the skills that are required within that learning area. ICT will also be incorporated into all subjects, considering that digital literacy is a competence that every CBE learner should acquire. The other subject that may not be examinable, just like skills, is pastoral instruction program. Of course, one of the bases of CBE is values. So the learners have opportunities for them to develop their values through programs like pastoral instruction program. Although values also is inbuilt in all the teaching areas, every teacher is expected to enable learners develop these values as they develop competencies in their learning areas. So every learner will be expected to take 7 subjects. That is 4 core subjects, and 3 from pathways and track of choice. So if they choose STEM, they will do the 4 the compulsory ones, and then they choose from the pathway and the track the remaining 3. How will these learners choose these pathways? 1, it will depend on the student's interest. What does this student want to be? Of course, this question may be difficult. Some at that level may not be able really to have an idea of what they want. But with guidance from the teacher, then they will decide the career they want. And this will result in subject selections. If they want to do medicine, for example, again, they'll be expected to choose the sciences, biology, chemistry, and physics. So it means that learner should be able to show that they have done well. Of course, with the results of junior, secondary results, they'll be guided depending on how they have performed there. Then students, the other one will teachers input. That is learners, the teacher will be able to guide on learners' potential, strengths, and weaknesses. A parent or the student may want to do architecture, for example. But by the end of the day, it is the teacher who will be able to guide and see whether that student qualifies or not. And then finally is the academic performance. That is the grades and test scores. Of course, we know CBE learners have been tested through formative assessment. That is, they have accumulated performance all the way. And the last exam will add to the performance they've shown throughout their learning. So these grades and test scores will eventually determine the pathways which the learners will take. Of course, with the support of the parents, it is also very important that the parents assist if they are able, if they have the know-how. But the three main issues will be interest, that is career, teachers' input, and academic performance of the learner. So we can see that these pathways are actually according to what they have been learning. It's only that subjects are being grouped into pathways. Otherwise, they are the normal things they've been learning. But now, this is where the students differentiate each other depending on their interests, performance, and talents. So as we know, CBE is a type of education where they value the individual. It emphasizes the different learning styles for every learner. It values their abilities, but no learner can be said to be weak. These pathways offer opportunities for different types of learners. Chair?
Yes,
Chair.
Dr.
Yes, I've summarized very fast.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yes, I've just finished, and I can see if there are questions because I'm seeing I've seen some. You can read for me, and then I can respond to, or somebody else responds to the questions.
Yeah, this is how I would like us to proceed. For the participants who have questions, they can integrate in the chat box, and Daktari can respond some of them there. And we will also read some which we will tackle during the plenary session. So the participants, if you have questions, as I can see, there are a number of questions which have been forwarded. So Daktari, you can have a look at them and respond to some of them.
Yes.
Because you are done with the presentation, as I give this opportunity to the next guest. So you go through the questions which you are comfortable with within the pathway line. You can respond to them in the chat box. Then later on, you can have an opportunity to have interaction where the members can ask questions by raising their hands, and you can respond. But because the presentation is on, you can just. Thank you, Dr. Kerich. Thank you so much. So let me introduce you. We have Fred Raptor. Fred Raptor is a tech education and entrepreneur, and is a physics and chemistry specialist. He's also a master's student. He has developed several websites, which I think maybe if he has an opportunity, you can maybe list some of them, which you can consult in matters of maybe learning materials and many other things. So, Arap, maybe you can take your mic and you can proceed with your presentation. I can see time is really moving. Asante sana, karibu. You can
Thank you.
tackle the area which the student can just use to proceed to secondary schools. I think this is to do with choosing of secondary schools. Yeah, asante. Karibu.
Thank you so much, Buanabet. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And thank you very much to all the participants. As it's been said, I'm Fred Arap. Now, I think my co-presenter has taken us through some key areas. And because of time, I think I'll also narrow down to majorly the selection process to senior schools. Now, before I came online, I had tried getting the recent update as we are speaking on the selection process, how it has fared, and how long we still have. Now, just to update the members, one thing to note is that as we are speaking, the selection process, as much as the government had wanted it to begin on the onset of this month, that was July, the system actually started working almost a few days ago from 8th of July. And the information that I have, most sub-counties have given schools a deadline up to around either tomorrow, some are going up to 14th, that is 15th, so either Monday and Tuesday. So those are a few days. And after the selection process, of course, there will be a list that will be sent from schools and taken to the sub-county offices for verification and affirmation that the schools have really guided the learners for selection process. Now, because here we are varied members and we are from different disciplines, we have educational professionals and also professionals from different areas. One of the things that maybe I can let you people know is, one, before I give you the process that we are undertaking, I think let me start with the problems that currently our learners are experiencing and even the teachers are experiencing as far as this process of selecting the career pathways that they will be taking from next year. Number one, most of the schools that have gotten in touch with are complaining that both the students and most of the parents do not have information or have inadequate information as far as the process is and as far as the pathways are involved, and even the subject or the learning areas that the learners are supposed to take should be having. So most people are not very informed. And I think this forum is important for us, whether you have a learner in this grade 9, or you have one in junior school, or you have a relative, or even you're part of the community, because we are mandated to enlighten the community. Now, number two, other than issue of information, which we are trying to address, is that some combinations that learners are proposing, even after they have been guided, those combinations do not exist. You know, the previous information that was issued by the government, they had outlined the clear structure of the CBC, the CBE, on the pathways that the learners could take. But now, as time was approaching, things got more clearer. And some learners, I think, had it difficult to know the exact subject areas that they need to pick to fit into a given career profession, as had been outlined by my co-presenter, Dr. Kerich. She has given us a hint on the various pathways and the possible career that should be taken. I think among the other problems that were mentioned is that I think some parents are taking a backseat and leaving the entire task on teachers. And we know very well that some schools have challenges. They may not have enough teachers, or even if they are there, these teachers may not be very much well informed as far as the CBE is concerned. And that's where now it requires the input of parents and thorough consultation. You could consult with those ones who are well familiar with the CBE. Well, there is also a challenge that we have always stating, that when you want information about CBE, there is no clear person who would give you the actual information. I think I shared with John Bett about the challenge that CBE has. I've been into this area of providing content for the learners, and one important challenge that we are having is that there are a lot of shifts and changes every now and then. So there are those changes that come even after we have prepared content, and then there are those shifts. So we can say for the grade 9 learners, as much as they are choosing, they are giving way for the grade 8 and the grade 7 to know exactly the clear ways and procedures on what will be done. However, this is what is required. Number one, my co-presenters mentioned on the factors to consider when you are helping a learner to choose the pathways. Because of time, I won't mention many of them. Of course, there is an aspect of interest. There is an aspect of aptitude, that is in terms of abilities, and also personality type. This is a challenge that I felt on my side because of my little knowledge with the technology. I was trying to solve that by bringing on board various educational theories that have been there that can help learners know which kind of personality they belong to, or what could be their interests, and even their various intellect levels. There are various theories put in place because there are different levels of intellect, and they are categorized into 9 places, 9 categories. I won't go into detail. However, I've tried to shorten the process to help those learners who can be able to access internet, to be able to go online, enter their details. The process is free. There are a few questions that they might answer, that is a few aptitude tests. And then at the end of the day, those questions will be assessed, computed, and a report will be generated for them to know probably what their interests are and what are the possible pathways they should choose. So other than aptitude and the interests, which can be measured, there is also the aspect of assessment results. We know very well the reason why we are shifting from the current 844 system. We know this system is so much inclined into examinations, and not just examination, the summative one, that one that comes at the end of the Form 4 class, whereby it's a do or die. And we know that very well, that is not the best or the most appropriate way of placing learners to various careers. And this shift to the CBE, that is the competency-based education, tries to minimize the over-reliance on the summative kind of examination. So that's why now they have reduced that as one of the criteria to select learners. They have reduced it to around 60%. So 60% of the scores that the learners will get at the end of the Kenya Junior School examinations will help them, or will help the government in placing the learners. Other than that, the remaining 40% will come from what we call the school-based assessments. These have been the continuous assessments that have been used to guide and measure the abilities of the learners. So these are things like the projects that you have always been told for those who have learners in the junior schools. So you've been told there are projects they are undertaking. But now in our case of senior school, the key projects that we are mentioning are the ones offered in grade 7, grade 8, and grade 9. So those are the key projects that will factor in what pathway they are likely to be allocated. So other than that, which of course these school-based assessments are done by the teachers. Someone questioned about how the CBC will cater for these ways of, or how will they assess the competency of learners. I think to address it partially as I am presenting is that the teachers have the ability, they have been given the parameters to use. Aspects of making observation, they are what we call the rubrics that they are using to capture the details of the learners as learning keeps on going. So at the end of the 3 years in the junior school, it will compute among with the portfolio and the project work. Those scores will be added to the 60% that they will sit for, and a whole picture the suitability of the learner will be, of course, known. Now, coming to that, so those are two factors I've mentioned. So learners' aptitudes and interests, and then assessment results. And lastly, of course, now is the role now that we are playing in. Of course, we are bringing in the guidance, the collaborative aspect, both from teachers, parents, the community. They play a role in guiding the learners on what pathways they're supposed to pick. So once you consider all this and the interest of the learners and other external factors like either psychological or economical factors, you know, as much as we might have an interest in a given area, we have to look at the economy ahead. So that is also part of a factor that we may consider. So how do we choose? So once we have assessed the learner, as a parent, of course, it's your role. Maybe let me correct this, that the selection process was not meant to be a one-day event. I think we have missed it when we say that the selection process now has to be between this day and that day. The selection process was to begin from the day the student entered grade 7. So from there now, as a parent, as a teacher, it was important to start noting probably which area can this particular learner get into. And then as a parent and in conjunction with the teachers, they were to streamline the process and make it very clear that such that by a time like this, we are very sure of what the learners are supposed to pick. So other than this process that I would lie, that I will outline on what is supposed to be done, let me mention a number of things that I've observed. That there is totally a difference in the manner in which private school learners in grade 9 are selecting the pathways or the subjects that they'll do in senior school. And then the public schools also are having a totally different manner in which they're selecting the subject areas. Well, the factors, the reasons for the factors, I think all of us, there's those factors that are in the public domain, but for scholars, I think there's an area that research has to be done. Most public schools, junior school learners are shunning away from the STEM. I think that's one thing I've observed. From a number around 9 public schools that have assessed what the learners are selecting, almost less than 10% are picking the STEM pathway. And remember, the government initially was encouraging that at least 60% of the learners should be placed in the STEM pathway. And then 25% social sciences, and lastly, the remaining small portion, 15%, to go to sports science, arts and sports science. However, what I'm observing is a bit different from what is happening on the ground. I think this can be attributed to either lack of information, or that is both for the teachers and the learners, and even the parents. Number 2, on the private schools, most private schools learners are going for the STEM pathways. Well, we can think of it that probably most parents in private schools, we could say that to a higher extent, they are enlightened as far as this system is concerned and as far as the future of their children should be. Most, of course, are teachers, doctors, etc. At least people who maybe, or I would say they are the cream of the society. I'm not implying that those in the public are not, but to a high extent. So I'm saying that that's why most learners in private schools are going for the STEM pathway, which also raises some questions. Is it really possible that most of them have the ability to really pursue the STEM pathway? So that is also another issue. Or are they just going for the sake to please the parents that they have gone for whatever the parents want? So how should the learners select the subject areas? As my co-presenters mentioned, there are pathways to look for. I'll not mention the detail, but once a learner has known the pathway that they are to choose, whether it is STEM, whether it is social sciences, or whether it's arts and sports, they need to have a rough idea of what they want to become. And I think the ministry has provided more information, some guides from their website, for those who have had time to access it, on the possible careers that exist. And these careers are also associated with certain pathways. So as a parent, as a student, for those who had difficulties knowing which career pathway they should go, probably from the mention of what the learner wants to become, you could have an idea on which pathway the learner should go to, other than knowing their aptitudes, their personalities, and all the other factors. So the ministry's site, the site on the ministry's website, that is the website by the ministry, that is on selection.education.go.ke, guides the learners on the various possible careers from various pathways. And from the website also, they have simplified the entire selection process, in that instead of you being bombarded with so many subcategories within a given category, that is within a given pathway, you could also pick on specific subjects that the learner could do well in, or could realign or could align with their career. And I'll use an example. For example, a student who has decided probably to venture into pure sciences. You have been told of the subjects that are there. So under STEM for pure sciences, the subjects that are offered there includes the entire sciences: biology, chemistry, physics, and of course, mathematics also falls there. So if a student will take a pure sciences, they are likely to pick at least two sciences from there, and then add another area. So whether it is on, that is from a technical or the pre-technical category. So once they pick the learning areas or the subjects that they want, they will go to the website, and with the guide of their teachers, of course, this is being done by the teachers will try to check the schools that are available, that are offering those particular subject combinations. And from there now, they'll have to pick at least one national school, or let's just simply categorize them the way it has been categorized, C1. At least one C1, that is a national, and the system will automatically allocate them that school. Once they have done that, they'll go with the same subject combination, pick a second school with at least a C2 category. This is an extra county school. And when they have selected that particular combination, they'll be given the list of schools that are offering those subjects. So they'll have to pick it. And then they'll move to the third and the fourth. Now, once when they're picking or selecting the schools, they'll have to consider at least, well, that was the criteria that the ministry was outlining. I believe this will be used later on, either in the system or when the heads are now allocating learners to various schools, because that is how it's always been. After the national schools picks the students, then there is a meeting held to try and see how the learners are balanced in various institutions and various levels of schools within our country. So now they'll pick the C2, and then once they are done with that, they'll pick C3, which is now the county school. And the last option that they'll be required to pick is the C4, which is, of course, a day school or simply a sub-county school. But as they are picking this, at least two have to be outside their county. The system does not reject any selection. That's what we have confirmed, that the system does not reject even if I select all of them, all my selections from outside the county, the county that I am in. But I believe there must have been a good reason to ensure that at least learners pick at least two schools from all their selections from outside the county. And of course, these are boarding schools, one within the county they are in, and the last one at least a sub-county day school. Then once they have made that is the first selection. They'll go to the second selection, another subject combination that is close to what they want. So they'll repeat again. With this new subject combination, they'll start again picking the first C1, national school offering that combination. And if there is no school offering that combination, it means that probably it is not there. Like I've come across some complaining a lot that they are not seeing certain learning areas. Like that was aviation. A few institutions, I used to know Kamusinga High School, a national school, used to offer aviation. I believe, and there are those others that I don't know. But from the list, they are complaining that it's not there or they are not seeing it. Also, there are challenges with power mechanics. Some tell me they are not in a position to find them. And there are few institutions that are offering metal work, which of course, this may lead learners to directly get into the technical, the pivot, but they can still advance in that area. So they'll repeat, as I've said, the first selection, they pick at least the 4 schools, compulsory. They repeat the second selection and then the last selection. So learners must have at least 3 subject areas or learning areas that they will undertake in senior schools. Once they get into senior schools, there are those other subjects that will be added within their pathway that may at least enhance their studies. So that one will be done in another maybe segment to discuss, or they'll be inducted. Now, once the students have selected, that is, the teacher has done this particular process, what the teacher will do, he will print out the results after they have submitted. Now, most schools will wait until they have selected for all the learners. Then they will print out that it's like a student's profile with what they have selected, the student's details, the parents' details. Now, this slip that they will print is supposed to be taken to the parent to confirm whether you are comfortable with what the learner has picked, or if at all there is something that has gone wrong. Because one important thing to note, once the process ends, once the selection ends, there will be no room for change of pathway. Well, I understand this is Kenya. Sometimes there's a possibility, but the information that we have is that there will be no room for change. So it's important that as a guardian, a parent, or anyone concerned, once the learners print out that profile, get it, have a chance to look at it. And take note that the deadline, most sub-counties have a deadline by 15th. There are those that are stuck to on 14th, but a few days from now, they'll be closing the process. So once you have this sheet, you can keep it and confirm it to the parents. I know some schools have been generous enough to involve the parents. And after they have filled, they'll also go a step ahead to inform the parents on what has been picked and what has been selected. So I think that is very, very key. Maybe a few words of advice. Not all learners have the same abilities. There are those learners, we can say probably they have a higher IQ, but the competency-based system factors all learners. There are those who have exceeding expectations almost in everything, whether it is project, whether the learner observes them, whether it is the assessments, that is the summative assessment. So such kind of learners, of course, have the ability to take any pathway. And I know that these are the learners that are going to go to the C1 schools, that is the national schools. And probably it's because most of the C1 schools have many facilities, and they also have many categories. That is, there are many subject combinations that are being offered. For the weak students, I think as parents and as guardians, we can always advise these learners. My advice would be that let them be inclined to more of technical areas. Things like building and construction, metalwork, woodwork. That would be my guide and recommendation. And also looking at the economy ahead. However, we have different opinions. We have different guides that we can give to our learners. There are those who are more informed. And I think all of us, we can contribute, and we can reach somewhere where we can be informed and then come up with a better advice for our learners. So, cutting short, the selection process should not be a one-day process. It's a process that starts from grade 7 until grade 9. And it's also good that learners that is the parents and guardians, be part of the selection process. Teachers are playing a key role, but they are being overburdened by the system and by the process, because some learners, whatever they are selecting, when you look at their abilities, they cannot do it. Some want to become medical doctors, but they have a challenge in comprehending some, even the integrated science. So when you look at their interests and what they want, there is a mismatch, and the parents also are not informed. An example, one of the parents was insisting to one of the teachers that his student must go for sports pathway. Reason, the student likes watching sports. And I think that one, the parent was insisting to the teacher. So I don't know what the teacher chose for the learner, but I believe it must be along the side of the sports. So Bonabet, thank you very much. Because of time, let me stop at that point and allow in questions. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Fred Raptor, for the good presentation. In this session, I would like to give to my co-host, Betty Njiru, to take us through the plenary session, which is question and answers. And before she does that, let her introduce herself. Tell us what she's doing, where is she coming from, briefly, then she can continue. Betty, karibu.
Asante sana. Good evening, everyone. As you have been informed, my name is Betty Njiru. I am the CEO and founder of an organization called Studiesphere Academic Advisors, where we mainly do education consultancy, mainly studying abroad. So we are mostly involved into UK studies, Australia studies for students who've completed their O-levels, A-levels, and also master's students. We're able to come and consult with them and help them find careers abroad, and also help them with the process of visa application, university application, and career guidance. So that's what I do here in Nairobi. I'm going to take you through the question and answer session. My first question, the first question that I asked myself is, what's the difference between CBC and CBE? Did something change in between? I think I can give this question to our last speaker.
Thank you, Madam Betty. Well, now, when we say CBC, we are talking about a curriculum. So that is a curriculum is kind of an outline on what we are supposed to follow, how things will be done. But when we talk about the CBE, it is now the entire system. So just like the 844 education. So 844 education had its own curriculum that I had outlined what content will be taught, how it will be taught, how learners will transition from one area to another. So there is no change. It is only now that when we say CBE, we are now wrapping it up. It is the entire education system. Thank you.
Just unmute, Betty.
That. So most of the questions have been answered, but there's a question that says, is it possible? Okay, so sorry about it. Let me just read the next question. I'm just reading from what has been asked here. I think our teachers need a lot of capacity building because the system was changed, but most are still applying the old system model of instruction. Daktari, if you are here with us, are you able to respond to that?
Yes, thank you. It is true they need a lot of retooling so that they can understand how they are going to teach and assess. But you know, as you know, change sometimes takes long to be embraced. I think a number of those teachers were not really well retooled because of the manner in which CBE was implemented. They were doing it very fast. So there are some teachers who by the time they started teaching this curriculum, they were not comfortable, and they would sometimes really use the former ways of teaching and assessing. And particularly private schools, I'm sorry to say that. Because parents expect their learners to know a lot. And you know, CBE is about being able to do rather than knowing. So some teachers really do that because the directors in these schools want their learners to show in terms of knowledge that they have gained. For example, you can hear some saying, I've been following some teachers, especially in lower primary and a bit of middle school, where they were saying that parents expect their learners to have known how to read, to have known how to add, subtract at a certain level. So that is why some of them resort to former ways, and then others did not understand, so they find this cumbersome. But I think as we progress, they are slowly understanding the pedagogies of CBE, how to teach and how to assess. So they are now moving from teacher-centered to learner-centered, because before they did not understand, and mainly because of the way it was implemented. It was hurriedly done, so that by the time they finished the training, most of them would still not be comfortable using the new ways of teaching and assessing. Thank you.
You are not, you are unmute.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ari, and thank you very much for that clear answer. I'd like to give the next question to Mr. Fred Arap. The question is, how does CBE cater for learners with different abilities?
Thank you very much for that question. Now, CBC or CBE is a bit different from our normal or the 844 system. Now, this system, the way it caters for learners with different abilities or even learning abilities is because, number one, there is what we call differentiated learning. So here, teachers are required to use a variety of teaching methods, even resources and activities within the same classroom, so as to cater to students with different learning styles and abilities. So it's not like the 844 where the teacher would not mind who understood or who did not understand. They would rush and finish the syllabus. Number two, other than the aspect of differentiated learning, the system has a flexible pathways to senior schools. So a learner is not being forced to take certain subjects, whether they like it or not. So here, they are given a chance to drop what they can't and go for what they can do only. So that is some of the ways in which this system is catering for the learners with different abilities. Also, lastly, the teachers, when being inducted, I think they were being encouraged to be able to create a mode in which, once you understand the different abilities of learners, for each lesson, you need to find a way to handle each learner separately. So you don't put them together as a lot and then do everything once. No, you need to create a system for each learner, because we understand each learners have different abilities and each learner have different interests. Thank you.
Asante sana, Fred. And I believe your answer incorporates also the disabled. We don't call them disabled. There's a name. I think it also incorporates the same, because different capability is learning capability at the same time as physical capability. Is that it, Fred?
Yes, that is true. So other than the aspect of issue, now you can see that these learners, the special needs learners, have been factored in, like in every category. So there is emphasis on the issue of either visual or hearing impairments. So the regular curriculum was not so much into it. So the CBE has been adapted. And you could see aspects of Braille, the Kenya Sign Language being mentioned here and there. And for the learners with probably severe disabilities, like either the intellectual disabilities or even severe autism, there is a separate kind of a stage-based special curriculum whereby even the learners could opt to go for technical. So instead of being forced to go throughout the system, they can get a different pathway and get out of the system.
Thank you, Fred. Dr. Mary Kerich, I have a question here. I'd like to ask you, what role does the government play in monitoring the effectiveness of CBE?
Thank you. Yes, I think the government has in place structures right from the sub-country level to national level. We have quality assurance officers who, of course, are supposed to visit schools and see how CBC is being implemented and make their own reports, and where they feel that the teachers need assistance, they pass for those who will train them. And also at the level of the school, the teachers, there are certain teachers who are trained to be trainers. So I'm sure those ones give support to the others to ensure that quality and effective CBE has been implemented. And of course, heads of schools, they have ways of ensuring that the curriculum is well implemented. And also we have this, what we call TPADs. I think teachers continuously report on a timely basis about the effectiveness of their teaching, and if they evaluate themselves honestly, they are able to indicate areas where they are effective and areas that they are ineffective. And this information, this data, is used to improve where maybe teachers have indicated that they have not done well.
I have a question here. I think I'd be asking Dr. Fred. It's a two-part question. At what point do the students choose the subject? Is it in the beginning of JSS or at the end of JSS? Mr. Fred?
Thank you. Now, this selection process is meant for next year. That is the grade 9 learners who are now joining senior schools. So for now, they have been doing almost same things. So as they are going now next year, that's now where serious specialization begins. So, however, as I was mentioning, that the process ought not to have started in last minute. So the learners, the teachers, the parents and guardians ought to have known early in advance that probably this learner will take this particular route. And maybe just to add also to my co-presenter on the role of the government, well, you see, the government is like the master of everything. They are the one providing the human resource. So, you know, the CBC and CBE has challenges. It requires more manpower. And the government has been trying to add more teachers, particularly the JSS, where there were challenges. And they are continuing to do it. Number two, so that is the role of the government in terms of manpower, to provide more teachers through the Teacher Service Commission to ensure that the right work is being done. We have enough people to do it. Number two, the government is also playing a role on the assessment through the Kenya National Examination Council, the NEC. So that's why you're seeing they're not giving everything to the schools and teachers to decide. So government is coming in to assess, looking at the 30%. And of course, the ministry's role now is to oversee everything, provide the entire leadership from management, institutions, the building infrastructure, all that, the necessary that is required for this system to run. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. So now, having understood that the subjects are chosen for the purpose of joining senior high school, right? So the question is to both Dr. Mary Kerich and Mr. Fred Arap. The question is, assuming a learner has chosen a certain pathway and they do not do well at the end of the senior secondary school, which is a 3-year period, right? What happens to this person? Do they, what happens? The question is, what happens if they do not do well in the track or the pathway that they chose, if they fail? Either Dr. Mary Kerich or Mr. Fred can answer this, or both.
Maybe to begin on my side, CBC, there is no issue of pass or fail. It is an issue of either below expectation, approaching expectation, or exceeding expectation. So that is how the learners will be assessed. So what happens when they attain below expectation? There are things that you are waiting to see. What happens to this doctor? This guy wants to become a doctor, but they are not. They are really below the expectation. As I had mentioned earlier on, I think this first lot, the cohort, will give us the information that we require to prepare the other coming lot. When I was studying the aspect of management of change, there are challenges that comes with change. And despite you having a clear option that will be taken, sometimes you have to brace it and move forward. So there are some of those things that will be solved as we move forward. I believe within the given pathway, they'll have options. There is an option for going for a diploma. There is an option for going for a degree. Or within the same pathway, you could opt to go for, instead of going for a degree as a nurse, you could go maybe into a college. So I think that is how I think the issue will be addressed at that particular point.
Chair, I thought they had asked, for example, now that they are in grade 9 and they choose that they would want to do STEM subjects in grade 10. And then it happens that they, after the overall assessment, they do not meet the qualifications to do STEM in grade 10. What happens? So that's how I thought. I didn't know. What you answered is okay if it is at grade 12. But what about this student who is in grade 9 now and has done the other pathways too, and maybe he chooses that he would want to go and do STEM in grade 10, and on assessment, this student does not qualify to go and do STEM. That's why I answered that if the student does not qualify to do STEM subjects, then he's most likely to have done well in social sciences. So he may be placed in social science path in grade 10. That's how I understood.
Asante,
Okay, just to add, I think also to address that, it is a practical challenge that we have been having even in the current system. It gets to Form 3, whereby learners have to choose subjects. I teach physics and chemistry. Here comes a guy who has scored almost 10 E's. And then now you want to advise him the pathway to take. So here is a student, he has failed all the subjects. So you can't force him now to go into a certain area. Like I had a student who would not score anything, but she insisted that she wants to take physics. I had no option but to allow her to take. After she finished her Form 4, she managed to score a D-, and she went for technical, akaenda kukua fundi wa radio. And I was happy. I didn't see the bigger picture. Maybe I believe the CBE is also looking at that particular area. Somebody could have an interest in a given area, but intellectually they are not so good. There is an area within the same pathway where they can fit. So within the medical field, there are those who will come to assist, even the doctors. There is somebody who will deal with the instruments. There is somebody who will deal with the record keeping and the rest within the same pathway.
Thank you, Fred. Dr. Mary Kerich answered one of the questions, and I'm going to quote her answer. She said, competencies are assessed over a long time using observations, rubrics, journals, etc. You cannot use normal tests. Dr. Mary Kerich, I'd like to ask you, given that schools have different capabilities in terms of infrastructure, in terms of location, in terms of what is available to the students to facilitate this testing over a long period of time, what's your comment on that?
The issue here is competence. Competence is not something that you can say that I'm teaching competence today. Competence is a skill plus certain values. So, for example, if you want to test communication and collaboration, you cannot test it the way you test it in class, but you want to see if that learner actually relates well with other learners when they are working together in teams and so forth. So there really you don't need any facility or material to make you know whether this student has acquired a competency or not. So it is not a matter of a school is more equipped. This is something that you instill in the learner over a period of time. So it doesn't really require anything but observation. You can observe so long as you have enabled them to develop those competencies through the way you teach, providing materials, and also when you are instilling certain values. So this one has competencies have nothing to do with actually resources. It is something that is built over time, depending on the methods of teaching, the materials that are there for students to manipulate and work together. So that one is not so much as, for example, say you need materials, or you need teaching and learning materials for the lab. Competencies are different. You can develop competencies with whatever you have, whether you have a few resources or more resources.
Thank you, Dr. Harry. When CBC was begun, this one was a big concern because I remember at one point they were kind of like setting up CBC model centers. And I think, if I'm not wrong, one of the requirements was supposed to be like a computer lab. Even the CBC, like some of my friends, including myself, I have children who are doing the CBE education. And I realize this model, I don't know whether it will affect how they progress in future, because I see a lot of homework being sent to their emails, to their WhatsApp. They're supposed to bring gadgets to school and so forth and so on. Is it a thing, or is it just you are supposed to conduct CBC as you wish as per institution? Are there like such guidelines? I'm just curiously asking so that everyone else here can understand. If you understand my question, I hope so. Kindly comment on that.
I do, and to some extent, you are right. Sometimes you find, say, young children, for example, they are told, go and download this and this, for example. So first, the children in the rural areas where the parents are not actually educated or have the capability, or even live, if you don't live near where you can get a printer, for example, it becomes different. And there was a lot of hue and cry. But later it was realized that there are alternatives. They say either you do this or this, depending on your location and the situation and the environment in which the school is. But I think teachers would choose the one that is, that is more appealing to them. That is why nowadays I don't see children in the rural areas actually having their parents run up and down to do some of these things, because I think there are alternatives that they can use, unlike a child who's able to print, say, a picture at home. They can be told to go and bring something else, a picture which is not necessarily printed through the computer. But as you said, that one was putting some learners at a higher level as compared to others. So there was that digital divide among learners, although we were saying that one of the competencies that needs to be acquired is digital literacy. But also it doesn't mean that when you send those children to go and print, you have given them digital literacy. There are other things that you can do in school using the computer that will enable the learners to acquire that digital literacy. But as you said, at some point, there was that differentiation between learners in the rural areas and learners in more privileged environments. Thank you.
Just to add probably on also that issue of even assignments and the way teachers implement. In most things that we do, even teachers, sometimes whatever they are teaching, in most cases, they are doing what they saw done. So it's like they have learned through apprenticeship, either seeing what somebody is doing and then you want to implement it. But now here comes a challenge that this is a new, different system. So it may take time for some to adapt because they are now the first group. So the teachers who will come later will learn from this and they'll not know any other system. So when you find somebody giving a lot of homework, this homework must have an objective. As we have stated, we are developing the competencies within the learner. So whether we want to develop their ability at least to use ICT, that is digital literacy, or we want them to be able to learn on their own. So that is the need of giving maybe the homework. That is like an extended activity. But also even when this homework is given, it is not a one homework fits all for all the learners. A teacher should be able to assess all the learners and know, for this one, the best thing for them to go and do is this and that. That's why we said that this system, our teacher should be able to customize the lesson for the different learners within the same class. So I think that is that. So there was a problem with learners interpreting and implementing the system, which of course all of us were agreeing. And even I think as we are getting into senior school, there will be challenges. Things may not change once. But I believe the first cohort may suffer, but they will be the ones used to learn the problems and the challenges.
Thank you, Paul. I can see that, thank you, Fred. I can see that Paul Rotich has raised his hand. He'll ask the question and then we give it back to Mr. John Bett. Please go ahead, Paul Rotich.
Thank you, Betty, and thank you, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Paul Kirui, Principal Parklands Baptist School in Westlands in Nairobi. I have followed this discussion very keenly and very passionately because I am very passionate about the CBE implementation, and especially at a critical time like now when we are moving or transiting to the senior school. I may not have a direct question as such, but allow me to just make these comments. Number one, I'm laughing at Dr. Kerich Mary because she said private schools. Mine is a private school, but it's a different story altogether. Dr. Mary, we will see each other behind the tent. Number one, what we call personality test. Personality test that is done for the children. It is very, very important. As I'm talking to you now, we have completed the selection for our grade 10 in my school. And these are the encounters that we have had. Personality tests, that is very, very important. Number two, parental involvement. I can tell you today, Arap, these parents are very, very necessary. You know, the whole thing is about collaboration between the teacher, the parent, and the learner, because we are running away from the situation where parents would say what you have just said, parents are saying, that I want my son or my daughter to do sports. Yeah, but the child has a role here. Personality test will bring out the child in whichever career and pathway that child is supposed to move into. So parental engagement, very, very important and very, very vital. As I'm talking to you, we have, had a collaboration with all the parents individually, and we arrived at where we are. So that is a thing. Parental involvement, very, very important. A personality test, also very, very important. Personality test, together with the child's ability, will really solve a problem which I've had somebody asking. What happens after they have made that choice of that career and they have taken those learning areas within those pathways that they have chosen? And then at grade 10, 11, and 12, or say grade 9, supposing they don't meet the threshold or the qualification for them to proceed to grade 10 within the careers that they have chosen. Of course, that's the reason why we have had C1, C2, C3, and C4. They are not telling us that C1 is national, C2 is extra county, C3 is county, and C4 is sub-county. They are not telling us that. They are saying they are random. But of course, anybody who looks at it very keenly will know that that is the story and that is the way they are going. So should a child, these children are based on their personality tests together with their performances now, and then now they are able to choose those pathways that they have chosen. Over and above, the teacher needs to come in. Dear colleagues, the teacher needs to be involved in this. I am one person who has gone the talk with the teachers that are under me, and we are saying this is a system that is supposed to be steered by teachers. Let the teachers come in. Gone are the times when teachers are sitting at the fence and wondering whether it will happen. I can tell you, teachers need to come in. This is their field. This is their knowledge. This is their specialty. Let the teachers come in. Let the teachers not say, we don't know, we have not known. I've liked an observation somebody has said that we have champions. I can tell you, we have champions in school. And these champions are the ones that are every time, from time to time, during stand-up meetings, during briefings, during staff meetings, we give them at least 15 minutes for them to articulate very basic matters and contents about the implementation of CBE. It is just the way to go. Let teachers say that this is our process. We cannot give it to anybody, and we cannot wait for anybody to come and give it to us. We have to take it ourselves. Take the bull by the horns. At the end of it, we are succeeding. We pray that as we transit to grade 10, then we will just pick, because after all, we know at the senior school, we are going to pick specialized areas within the subject or the learning areas, and somehow things will just be at a vision and it will just come to focus. Otherwise, thank you so much, the organizers of this forum. It is quite educative. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul Rotich. I'm also in Westlands. I feel like now visiting your school.
Please, Parklands Baptist School is just around the Rafter Road.
Yeah, I know it.
Please come.
So anyway, just before we go, we give it to John, but there's a teacher in the house. And this teacher in the house, did you hear what Mr. Paul Rotich said? That teachers need to be involved. Miss Jennifer, if you're here and you're a CBE implementer, would you comment on that? Are you involved in the CBE? Oh, I think she might have dropped out of the call. Let me just take it back to Mr. John Betts at this point.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Betty. Good evening once again, participants. I want to appreciate each one of you for the time you came to this particular conference. I've learned a lot, particularly myself. I've learned quite a lot from the presentations. Our conference objective was for us to understand the two things. That is, one, the career pathways. Where will the learners go after the secondary education? How will they choose the careers? The prestigious careers we know, like medicine, engineering, and law. That was my main objective. At this point, I think I have achieved. The second thing which I think we were to learn was about the selection criteria. That is from the secondary level to the high school level. We understand currently we have the junior secondary school. So the presenter have demonstrated very, very well how the students will choose the pathways or the tracks. We are given in each particular pathway, there are several tracks and how the students will choose. So to me, I've learned a lot and I want to appreciate the presentation. The presentations were very excellent, I must admit. The guests did not disappoint us. They prepared very well and I want to thank them. I want to thank the members of the technical team who made this conference also possible. We have here my co-host, that is Betty Njiru, CEO of Study Spears Academic Advisors. My brother also who did mobilization, that is Jonathan Metet. Today, because of time, I may not give him an opportunity to say anything. I have also members of the technical team, Purity Chichi, who is normally lead in sign language interpretation. Today we had Winnie, but it's like Winnie was not able to join us. We had Millicent Cherotich, sign language interpreter. Thank you, Millicent. I think the deaf community was served very well, very well. Although today I didn't see anyone commenting. I don't know whether they were following or not, but I assume they benefited from the presentation. Everyone else, everyone who took his time to be patient from 8 up to this point, I want to acknowledge your presence and I want to welcome you once again in future to join these particular conferences. We normally organize these conferences every Sunday. So if you are joining for the first time, know that so far this was almost the 11th conference. We have handled so many things, so many topics, including the artificial intelligence topic. We have untold about opportunities abroad. Betty Njiru was one of the guests and others in different countries. So we have a lot to offer in this conference. It's just an empowerment forum where we target youth, the women, people with disability, and anybody who want to access information. I think also today's conference was very interactive. Betty Njiru made quite an effort to make sure that the questions which were presented in the chat box were exhausted. And I think everybody is now satisfied. So if you still have any question which has not been addressed there, you can still put in the chat box. At the end of this particular session, we have an app which is recording all the notes, and I will share in the main page, that is the community interactive discussion app page, so that we can access from there, and even the guests will still respond from that particular point. Otherwise, maybe I want to give one person, maybe to give vote of thanks from the members of the technical team. Let me just see who is in. Then we can...
But can I interrupt you?
Okay.
Our teacher Jenny just got back, and I had a burning question for her.
Who?
Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer can just have an opportunity to say something.
I wanted to ask her, since Mr. Poro teacher said teachers have a role to play in choosing the subjects going forward. I wanted to ask her, what has she done herself? How has she played this role? And how are the teachers in her school playing this role?
Thank you, Betty, for that question. So what I have done myself is to ensure that I involve learners in all, we are molding learners all round. And it's helping us discover what the learner likes and what they don't like. For example, we boost talent. We involve them in drama, in sports, and in class. What we learn to do is the learner does. I do, you do, we do. So we let the learners do, and we observe. We use the assessment method of observation first, and we make the class learner-centered. And that's when you get to discover those who are leaders, those who love mathematics, those who love sports. We have drama. When it comes to things like theory, we have skits. When it comes to mathematics, we have where they do things like beam balancing, they do measurements of kilometers and the like. So when we involve learners in doing these things by themselves, and for me, I've been blessed to be the class I'm currently handling. I've handled them for, this is the 3rd year. So as the years have progressed, I've been able to note the strengths of a learner and their weaknesses. Now, some, it's a mentality, for example, Kiswahili. A learner may be like, I don't like Kiswahili, but then there's a way we help them that the learner discovers it was a mentality. It's not something that I'm not strong in. So we help develop this esteem in the child so that they're able to choose purely what they are strong in and what they love. And there's no confusion at the end of the session, because over the time, you and the learner have come, we have developed a relationship where I'm able to understand the learner. We also involve parents a lot in class. We call parents a lot to talk to learners on Fridays during the PPI lessons. We involve them in the activities we do, and most of the projects we do at school. Not many we send home for the parent. Where the parent needs to be involved with like twice a month so that they can create that rapport with the child. Otherwise, that's how we are doing so far to ensure that the learner comes out the person that they are meant to be.
Thank you, Jennifer. Back to you, Mr. John Betts.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that contribution from Jennifer. We really appreciate. So I wanted also to integrate that all the notes which have transpired concerning what has transpired has been also captured. All the questions and answers has been captured and will be shared in the Google Calendar. So if you registered before joining, you'll access everything which took place in this particular conference. Even the video, you'll still access. Anybody who participated will be acknowledged in that particular video and the notes. Your contribution will be clearly captured. And the same notes I will share even in the WhatsApp page. So thank you very much, participants. I want to give this opportunity to one member of the technical team to acknowledge and thank the guests of today and the sign language interpreter and other members who participated. And maybe after his final remarks, he will give someone to pray for us. Then we can break. So Jonathan Metet, I want to give you this opportunity. You also acknowledge the members of the sign language. Karibu.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. You have heard my name is Metet from Mombasa. I wish to appreciate from Technical University of Mombasa, that is also the Disability Inclusion Champion for the university and also national. So I wish to appreciate Dr. Mary Kerich for a very good presentation. At least we have really learned a lot. And also appreciation goes to Fred Arap also for the good presentation. I also appreciate the host, that is John Bates and Betty Ngiru, and our sign language interpreters, that is Millicent Jerotich and Winnie Chepkorir, who is appearing using the screen for our colleague sign language interpreter also, Francisca Muen. And I also wish to appreciate the technical team led by the patron, yes, Dr. Aurelio Rono, for these continued efforts in sensitizing our community and the public, because we always believe information is power. So we really appreciate all of the contributions from the members, led by Paul Rotich, again he said from Nairobi Westlands, and also Engineer Alexander and everyone who has shared the questions on the chat. So we'll continue offering this service. Is always free. And those who have not joined the forum where we normally share the link, Community Interactive Discussion Hub, can be able to join the group, so it will be easier for online getting the link. It's not only here that we share information, even every day different conversation continues on the forum from different topics. So members are free to engage as long as they know issue of politics. Anyone who shares or deal with issues of politics is actually dealt with immediately and is removed. These are national forum, national stroke international forum. We have members from across the country and also international level. And also it's an inclusive, it's the most inclusive conference or forum, because we have sign language interpreters who normally assist us on voluntary basis. And we really appreciate their efforts, because we know also that's it's a service also that they need to charge. But they're doing so for the benefit of inclusion, to ensure that the deaf community are informed. So to this end, I really wish to thank everyone, and let's continue to share. Let's continue. When we get a link, you share with your network and friends, so that they can get the right information from the right people. So at this end, I wish to request Purity Chichi, also one of the sign language interpreter from Mombasa, if she is in, can close with a word of prayer. And I wish she could also do it in sign language, that prayer. And then Winnie will be voicing out the prayer. Thank you. Purity? Purity?
Hello.
Please pray for
Hello.
us in sign language, and then Winnie will voice it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Listen. Okay. Amen.
Much. I think that is how we also pray in sign language. I think, unfortunately, I think Winnie was unable to voice it out. Next time you can follow. Thank you so much. So back to you, Beth. Thank you. You can unmute.
Before we break, I want to request Fred Arap to lead
The
us.
prayer has already been done in sign language. Eh?
Pardon?
The prayer has already been done in sign language. Maybe
So
you
it is
didn't
not
hear.
complete. It has been
Yeah,
done.
no.
It's not complete.
It was done, yeah. The prayer was done in sign language. Winnie
Okay,
was
okay.
supposed to voice it out, but I think there was a technical problem.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
you.
So now, because we have completed with the prayer, normally after praying, we normally give people now pleasure to live at their own pleasure. If because I think we have come to the end of the conference, and until next week again, that's where we will organize another conference. We will communicate anything about next week, the course of the week, through our WhatsApp. If you have not joined the WhatsApp, please make an effort to maybe reach me through my email or the mobile contact number I've shared, so that I can add you. I know there are some people who have joined this conference directly through the link, and they are not members of the WhatsApp. That's where we share a lot, daily conversations about what is going on in the country and even outside. We share there, and the only thing which we share about Sunday is the online conference, but other things also take place every day. Otherwise, I want to wish you a good night, blessed week. Until we meet again, you can leave the conference at your own pleasure. Good night.
You have not shared your number.
Okay.
Thank you.
You
Good.
want to share your number? Yeah.
Okay, let me just share my number. Okay,
Then type it also on the chat.
I want also to indicate in the chat, for those who maybe are listening, it is 0711591151. Okay, that is my number. You can text me. I will add you to WhatsApp page. The members already are almost 1,000 in that page. So, and the membership covers the entire country. Many are coming from Mombasa. Some are coming from Northeastern. Many also are coming from Trans Nzoia and Uasin Gishu. So this is a forum of national importance, because that's where we share
Kiambu and
issues.
Meru also are here. That is from Meru. I think Jenny Kamau is from Kiambu. So we really need to get everyone from across the country. I'm saying we have also from Kiambu, Jenny Kamau. Is it Jennifer Kamau?
Yes, okay. So again, the members of technical team or the executive team, we have JB Watt, Elizabeth. She's based in Bahrain. She's a member of executive team. She's very active also in WhatsApp page. She normally contributes to so many issues affecting the economy. She's a CEO of Bidelo Limited. She's an entrepreneur also, and she has worked in Europe for 27 years. Another member of technical team is Dr. Christine Walela. She's based in Adelaide, Australia. Another person who is also a member of technical team is Mr. Kerich. Kerich is in Debrecen, Hungary. Today he was not able to join, and he told me to pass his apologies. And then here in Kenya, my co-host is also a member of technical team and as well as the team, Betty Njiru, CEO of StudySpears, academic advisors. A company deals with the connection to students who are seeking opportunities abroad, especially UK. She's a member of technical team. And Metet, who is also normally taking the role of co-host, is a member of technical team as well as executive team. And then from the sign language part, we have Purity Chichi. She's also a member of technical team as well as executive team. And then we have our patron. Our patron is Dr. Aurelia Rono, PS, State Department of Parliamentary Affairs. Then we complete the technical team.
And you know that
So,
that PS is a parent in my school, eh?
Pardon?
Dr. Aurelia Rono is a parent in my school. In fact, she's a parent in grade 9. So these things we've been talking about, Dr. Aurelia Rono is just at the center of it. Thank you for her being a member of this executive team.
Yeah, actually, Dr. Aurelia Rono is our patron, and she presented here. She has presented here as a guest twice. The topic on Finance Bill 2025. She was our chief guest, and then she also presented as chief guest on what it takes to succeed in competitive in regulated careers like law, medicine, and engineering in competitive job market. So those are the areas she has presented, and I think she has also presented in another discussion again. So she normally appears maybe after 2 weeks. She normally leads in this forum. So she's our leader, and we are very grateful that now we also have another entrepreneur, that is Paul Rotich, joining us. You're always welcome, Mr. Rotich, especially in matters to do with education. Other members of technical team, we have the members of sign language interpreters. We have about 3 of them. That is, we have Winnie Singano. Today she was supposed to lead. And then we have Millicent Cherotich. She's also a member of technical team serving the deaf community. And today we have also Francisca Mweni. Mweni, where are you from?
No, that is Winnie. That is Winnie using the phone for Mweni. Mweni is from Taita.
Okay. You know, I was almost saying you
but now they are in the same school. They are in the same school, say Tito. So initially, Winnie was using her phone, maybe due to challenges, she resorted to Mweni's. Yeah.
Okay. So otherwise, asanteni sana participants, asanteni sana guests, asanteni sana everyone who joined, whether for the first time or you are always joining us. Karibuni sana. Good night. I want to end the meeting now, and may you have a good night.
You may share your link here. Whoever may be able to join from there can also join or contact you directly.
Yes. So maybe you can still register with the link so that you can access the video, because the entire video will be shared. It is recorded. I have it here. I have the recorder here. If you can just see, let me just show you. Okay. We have this note taker. So we have a note taker which takes everything, including the informal conversations, what has been discussed through the chat box. The entire video is already there. So you'll miss the video and the chat and the notes if you do not register. That's why we were encouraging people to register before joining, because it will be sent to my account. That's the Google account, Google Calendar account, and then that's where most people also registered. They will still get there. Some will be asked to sign in. Some will just get it automatically. And then maybe as from this week again, I will start sharing all the topics which we have discussed. I think almost 30 pages, from the AI topic to opportunities abroad and other issues which we have discussed. So I will share. I will just compile them and put in a folder and share. So kongoi missing, asanteni sana. We just
Kongoi.
kongoi missing, kongoi missing.